Yeah. Hi, my name is Ange, and I'm looking at the next chapter in the book of Mark, and it's chapter 14. I'm going to summarise most of what happens in this chapter. However, I'd also encourage you just to take a few minutes to read this chapter for yourself in your own time. So in Mark chapter 14, we're reading really of the plot to kill and get rid of Jesus. So there's a guy called Judas, and he was one of Jesus' closest friends, and he betrays Jesus for some money. We're told that Jesus knew that it would happen, that he knew that one of his friends would betray him. One evening, Jesus and his closest friends were having a special meal called the Passover, and this is a meal that they had at the start of a yearly 8-day festival. It was at this meal that Jesus told his friends that one of them would betray him. Jesus then went outside to a place to pray with his friends. He knew what was about to happen. He knew that he was about to be arrested. And so he asked his closest 3 friends then to walk a little bit further with him and to stay awake whilst he prayed. Jesus, he had a very sad and heavy heart, and he went to talk to his Father. He prayed and he asked his Father that he wouldn't die, but yet also accepted his will. And we also read that Jesus went back to his friends a few times, but he kept finding them asleep even after he'd asked them specifically to stay awake. And that night, Jesus was then arrested, questioned and beaten. And then at the end of that chapter, we read that one of Jesus' closest friends denies to other people that he even knew Jesus. So we're going to look at what we can learn about Jesus from this passage, and I'm going to focus on 3 things. Firstly, we can ask Jesus about stuff. We can ask him for advice, for instructions. Jesus' friends asked Jesus where they should go to set up for this special meal that they were going to have together. And Jesus told them who to look out for and who to talk to. You know, we can ask Jesus as well about what we should do. We can ask him for peace or for clarity or for wisdom. Is there anything that you want to ask Jesus about? You can do that. Secondly, Jesus' friends were real and human, and they did things some of our friends might also do. And so know that Jesus understands. His friend Judas betrayed him. Judas betrayed Jesus by telling people who wanted to kill him where Jesus would be, all for some money. We read Judas went to the leading priests to inform them of his willingness to betray Jesus into their hands, that they were delighted to hear this and they agreed to pay him for it. Now I'm sure there aren't many of us who have had friends have agreed to be part of killing you, to betray you maybe, or expose you to danger. But we may have had friends who didn't act in a way that we feel friends should. Know that if that is something you've walked through or are walking through, know that Jesus understands. He walked through that. Then his friend Peter said he didn't even know who Jesus was. We read from verse 66 that Peter says when someone asked him if he knew Jesus, "I don't know who you're talking about. I don't know this man." And he said it 3 times. Do you know, we might well have had friends who have ignored us when we've been with other people, or pretended not to know us, or they've not stood up for us and said something when other people have maybe been talking about us. Or maybe we've done that to our own friends. Again, if that's happened to you, know that Jesus understands. And then Jesus' 3 closest friends didn't do what he asked them to do. Jesus asked them for help when he was very sad and had a heavy heart. That's what we read. He told them how he was feeling, and he asked them to do one thing for him. That was to stay awake. They didn't do it. We read that Jesus said, "My heart is overwhelmed with anguish. I'm crushed with grief. It feels as though I'm dying. Stay here. Keep watch with me." Then he came back to his 3 disciples, his 3 friends, and found them all sound asleep. He woke one of them up and asked him to stay awake. But when he came back again, he found him asleep again. We're told that they couldn't keep their eyes open and they didn't know what to say to him. And 3 times that happened. 3 times they fell back to sleep. Maybe we've been really honest with a friend about how we're feeling and what we're going through, and then they've not really responded to it. Or we've asked a friend to do something for us, to help us with something, and they've said they would, but then they've not followed it through. Do you know, that can make us feel let down, frustrated, disappointed, hurt. And when your friends let you down, ignore you, maybe don't stand up for you, betray you, know that Jesus understands. You can talk to him about it. You can talk to him about what has happened and how it has made you feel. Do you know, later on we actually read that Jesus forgave and restored Peter, the guy that had denied him, and we can forgive our friends too. We can ask Jesus to help heal our heart and help us to forgive our friends. Or maybe Jesus has been your friend, but you've denied him when talking to other people, or he's asked you to do something and you've not done it. Know that there is forgiveness for you and Jesus is still willing to be your friend. So we can ask Jesus for advice, and we can know that Jesus understands. Thirdly, Jesus was real with his Father. He was real about what he was feeling. He told his Father he didn't want to do it, that he didn't want to go through what he knew was coming, dying on the cross. And in verse 36, we read that Jesus said when praying, when he was talking to his Father, "Father, all things are possible for you. Please remove this cup of suffering. Yet I want your will to be done, not mine." Jesus was sad, he had a heavy heart, and he expressed what he was feeling in his heart to his Father. Know that when you feel sad, when you feel like you've got a heavy heart, when you can't sleep because of the things that you're facing and going through your head, things that you're walking through, you too can be real with God about it. You can tell him about how you're feeling and about what you're going through. Tell him what's going on, be real, and allow him to meet you in that place. And know that Jesus understands. You know, you can talk to him at any time, any place. When you go for a walk, driving your car, in your house, sat on your bed, it doesn't matter. And we can see just in this chapter, let alone other chapters in Mark and the rest of the Bible, that Jesus lived his life on earth and went through lots of different things. Know that Jesus understands and is with you. When you feel let down, betrayed, ignored, lies are told about you, when you're filled with grief, overwhelmed with sadness, know that Jesus also felt those things, that he knows, that he cares for you. You know, there's another verse in the Bible, in Hebrews, it's chapter 4, and it says, "Now that we know what we have, Jesus, this great high priest with ready access to God, let's not let it slip through our fingers." We don't have a priest who is out of touch with our reality. He's been through weakness and testing. He's experienced it all but the sin. So let's walk right up to him and get what he is so ready to give. Take the mercy, accept the help. And so as I finish, I want to say that you can know Jesus as your friend, the one who understands what you're going through or have been through. You can ask Jesus into your life and be your friend. And you can do that right now just by saying, "Jesus, would you come into my life? I want to be your friend." Well, thanks so much for watching. That's the end of Mark 14.